So the biggest thing that for some of you that you're going to need to start doing that you have not maybe in the past is showing all the, what we call in here. What's it called when we add 1 to both sides and divide both sides by 9 in general? What is that called? Okay. Give you a hint. It's the title of this class. This is algebra. Okay. Yeah, this is not an optional if you feel like it, if you want to type of thing. This is, no, this is a must. This is showing how you got your answer and showing the steps is algebra. And this is how all of it's graded as well. So, like on your quiz, this was, 3 steps? No, 2 steps, but there's 3 points total. 2 steps are adding 1 to both sides, dividing both sides by 9, and you get 1 step for the answer, which is really arithmetic. So if you did 17 plus 1, which is 18, 18 divided by 9 properly, you got the right number. If you did all the algebra correctly, you still added 1 to both sides, divided both sides by 9, but you got the wrong number. Well, your algebra is technically correct, but your arithmetic is wrong. So that's how it's graded, and that's how every teacher here grades it. It's not like one grades a different way and they see there's more than 3 points there or less. It is what it is. So if on your quizzes, if you didn't actually show algebra on your algebra quiz, even if you got the right number down here, like you computed everything correctly, but if you didn't show how that number comes to be, that's where you would miss points. Okay? So understand this is not optional, it's a must. Also, I'm going to show you guys today a format for writing everything that requires everything to be lined up and even. I'll require that for the homework for a long while until we all get used to showing work. And it's going to be a must to receive credit. So today, for most of you, if you look at this and you're like, yeah, I know how to do that, I want you to focus on how to write it on your paper as opposed to what's the right answer. For some of you, you're really fixated on, I know the answer's 2. If I got a 2 for an answer, why do I have to care? Because we're going to get to much more difficult stuff very soon. And you're not going to be able to say, oh, it's just 2. If you don't know how to do this algebra on the easy stuff, once we jump it up to high school level, you're going to be in for a shock that your shortcut and not showing work doesn't really work anymore. So trying to avoid some future struggles if possible. All right. So I'm going to show you a few examples and then have you guys start in class. In general, here's what, try this on this. I want you to know that you always want to cancel, start off. Our goal is to have x equals some constant, right? X equals 5, x equals -2, that kind of thing. That's always been the goal. That's the goal for Algebra 2 and all the way into calculus. So that means we need to have only the variable on the left-hand side, which means we need to cancel out constants or numbers. Okay. On the left. And since we only want constants on the right-hand side, no variables, we always want to cancel out variables. On the right. And you should write this down. So if the question is, well, how do I start this? We'll point you to this. Well, what does your note say? Well, I need to cancel out the constants on the left, cancel out variables on the right, to have that written down. given that, let me show you the format, how I want you to write out your work. And the purpose for this is not to, I want you to do it my way because I have a way and that's the way I like to see it, but that we all do it the same way. So when you guys come in tomorrow, and you'll be given, like, I think 12 of these to solve, everybody's work should look basically identical. All the work will be in the same place on your paper or on somebody else's. So if there's a mistake, or when I tell you guys to go ahead and collaborate, and you have different answers, you can more easily figure out, well, where are they different? Where does your work and my work become different, meaning one's right, one's wrong? So I got a feeling when the past few weeks when I've been asking you guys to collaborate when you come in, your work and how you're writing stuff is completely different. So it's very difficult to actually talk about it because it looks so different. So to fix that, we're going to have everybody use a similar, if not the same exact format. And it goes like this. Basically, everything stays vertically aligned. So once upon a time, when you did subtraction in elementary school, actually I'll use 2 since there's a 2 in here. 5 minus 2. What's the answer? 3. And where do you write that answer? Directly underneath. That's the only principle I'm going to have you guys use. When you do a calculation, you write the answer directly underneath. If you follow that, then you'll be fine. It's going to make your equation look a little different, but it's going to organize it in a way that it's easy to follow. Okay. So for instance, on this particular equation, to solve this, okay, so your notes say what? Cancel out the constants on the left, variables on the right. So constant on the left is positive 2. I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. 2. And it also says cancel out the variables on the right. So the variable on the right-hand side of the equation is 2x. Subtract 2. Notice how I'm doing both these steps at the same time. That's perfectly okay. Notice how these are 2 steps, though. If I was grading this, this would be 2 points. So this is a 4-point equation. So this is half your work, half your credit on this, if I was grading this, is just this right here. Okay, cancel out anything that's 0. So 2 minus 2 is 0, 2x minus 2x is 0. And now here comes the elementary. So what is 5x minus 2x? And I write it directly underneath. That's all. This is where it might differ for some of you, and I want you to change that to like this. What is this question asking? What is this? Is 10 minus 2? Is that what this says? It says negative 10 minus 2. I have some people that will leave off the negative and they'll say, well, that's a subtraction. Same thing. And negative 10 minus 2 is? Yes, and we'll have some people that say 8 or negative 8. So this is why you have a calculator for arithmetic. And if you're still using the old rules that you might have learned, if the signs are the same, then you do this. If the signs are different, then you keep the sign of the bigger one, then you subtract this. I want you to stop using them. If you use a bunch of keep flip this and PEMDAS that, and please excuse my flipping, you know, all these different rules, that it's making it way too complicated. I think if you're missing this at this level, it's too complicated. $10 negative. That means you spent $10. So if you spend $10 one place, you spend $2 more somewhere else. How much have you spent altogether? $12. That's negatives. You don't need a bunch of rules that are easily confused and mixed up, and you're getting something from elementary school or junior high incorrect. And you're allowed to use calculators. So if you're one of those that's saying 8 or negative 8, please just check before you put something down. Next step, divide by the coefficient. Okay. And now where should the answer go for this?
On the right.
Directly below it. So again, that's the only thing different. Just like we did, 5 minus 3, the answer goes directly below it. That's the way you did it before. That's what we're going to do now. So I know this is going to create some space in between here where the zeros are, because 2 minus 2 is 0. We're not writing plus 0 plus 0. It's going to create some space, but I want you to become comfortable with that. 3 divided by 3 is 1. They cancel out. And you can see how the variables line up. You can see how all the calculations line up. And you can see how the equal signs line up. So if anything, this is a super easy equation to solve. I would just like you to line everything up vertically. Just all you got to do is follow second grade format of showing your work. You always wrote the answer directly underneath. If you just do that here, this is what it turns out to look like. Okay? Let's see here. How many points would this be worth? 4, right? Some of you are just guessing a random number. Some of you are actually listening to what I say. That's good. So how many steps are there? Let's see. I did subtract 2x on both sides. That's 1. I subtracted 2 on both sides. That's 2. I divided both sides by 3. That's the 3 steps. And then, of course, the 1 point for the answer coming out correctly, that's the arithmetic. So we did negative 10 minus 2 is negative 12. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. Just the arithmetic is correct. So 4 steps. Okay, that's 4 steps. Now, if you just have the answer and you didn't bother writing divide both sides by 3 or anything like that, you know, some of you guys, when you get your quiz, you'll notice that, but I had the right answer, but I got 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4. Well, you didn't write, you forgot the most important part, right? You forgot the algebra on your algebra quiz. Write the algebra down. Okay? Show the steps. Okay. Right for this. Okay. Now, your turn. Go ahead and write this down on your paper. Now, when you write it down, there is a little bit of space between the variables and the numbers and the symbols. Duplicate that space. Don't squish everything together because I have to fit everything on, one side of a piece of paper. Right? If you miss work and you miss questions simply because you're trying to write in small areas, that's not good. Okay? Just use the back, use another piece of paper to show more work. Okay. So follow me step by step. Please don't go ahead. Please don't assume this is... Okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve it exactly how I just did the last one. We're going to walk around and check to make sure you are following exactly what I just showed you. So we're trying to get you to change a habit. Sometimes that's difficult because you're so used to doing it. So follow with me and we'll break that habit. Here we go. What does the note say? Cancel out what? Cancel out constant on the left. Okay, so positive 2, negative 2. So I'm going to write directly underneath it. I go to the other side, find the other constant directly underneath it. By the way, if there was no constant over here, we could just write it after, and then it'd be 0 minus 2. Also, I want you to do the variables on the same step. So variables on the right, it's 4n. Subtract 4n. Subtract 4n. So we have the first 2 steps of 4 steps. Draw a nice vertical line underneath all of it. Anytime you do adding, subtracting, just like you did in elementary school. You had 1, and you drew a vertical line underneath it. 5 minus 3, you drew a vertical line underneath it. So we're doing adding, subtracting. Hopefully it's a much straighter vertical line than mine. Yep. Ah, yeah. Okay, where's my coffee? Waking up still. Hey, horizontal line. Very good. 2 points. Oh, Lord. Help me now. So, and here's what's different. Go ahead and cancel out what equals 0. Cross it out. Cross it out. Those equal 0. Cross them out. And here's where maybe somewhat new for you. 7n minus 4n. The answer right underneath it. 3n. Directly underneath it. Equal sign, bring it down, directly underneath it. There will be a space because we're not writing plus 0. If you don't have a space, you've already gone off track and you need to erase and rewrite it. Same thing here, there will be a space here. We're not going to write the 0. But 17 minus 2, directly underneath it, is 15. Divide both sides by the coefficient. Directly underneath it, 3 divided by 3 is 1n, or just n. We don't have to write the 1, just like we don't have to write the zeros. Bring the equal sign straight down. And directly underneath 15 divided by 3 is 5. Okay. Now, does yours look exactly like this? Could you draw a complete vertical line, right, straight down, and hit all the variables? Could you write a vertical line straight down and hit all the equal signs, and a vertical line straight down and hit all the constants? If not, erase it and rewrite it. And so we're trying to break the habit, trying to show it all the work, so rewrite it exactly like that. Following directions exactly. Not some version that you know, this way when you guys come tomorrow, everybody does their work this way. All your work will be in the same exact place for everybody's paper. And you guys can compare and collaborate a lot better because we've all written it the same way. Just like that. Not a little bit this, not a little bit that. Exactly. Don't change it, don't tweak it. Nope. Nope. Just like that. I say just like that. Just like that.
Mr. Auger, when we box our answer, can we put it over the side and move the end of the file?
This box is right there. Certainly. That's right there. Okay. Has everybody got this on your paper? Show me when we come around. Show us when we come around.
So, Mr. Auger, we can't rewrite it over the side.
Correct. Keep it below, just like that. You don't need to rewrite it. Little part, just like up here. Straight directly up. All right. Now, some of you do write a vertical, actually write a line here. You don't need to write a line, but if you like doing that, that's fine. But you don't need to highlight it every problem. I'm not saying this part you need to have on there, but just showing that if I took a ruler and drew a line straight down, it would hit all the variables of the whole equation. I know some of you at the very end have a tendency to do this, okay, and you just put it all together and squeeze it. Don't break format at the very last step. Again, straight down, I should see all the calculations. Straight down, see all the variables. How'd you get 1n? Okay, I did 7n minus 4n, got 3n. 3n divided by 3 is 1n. It's all vertically aligned, easy to follow. Anything that it's a 0 will be a space right here. There'll be a space for the rest of the equation. Because it's, instead of writing plus, unless if we can't seem to get that straight, we'll just do plus 0, plus 0, plus 0 until you keep something there so you don't squeeze it together. All right. Did you guys write this down? Have you guys tried? And do use the letters that you see there. Do write D because this is actually letter D from the homework. It's one of those that spells out something at the very end, so every problem is a letter instead of a number.
What was the last problem?
S.
S?
What side what?
Does it matter, like, what side you put the variable on?
Usually on the variable on the left. It's not wrong if we flip it, but again, in interest of keeping everybody's work looking pretty much identical, you know. Yeah, you can do one step at a time. That's fine. Yeah, if you prefer, like on the last one, I did do the first 2 steps together. If you like one step at a time, that's fine. If you have some mathematically correct practices that work for you and that's what you like, I'm not telling you to disown all that. But as far as organization, and of course writing the steps down, all of them, that's a must. Okay, so I see a lot of people, they've already Subtracted 19 on both sides. You've already subtracted 3k on both sides.
Does it average constant to average subtract on the side? Because they didn't do
Make sure you actually cross out what equals 0 or 1. In this case, there's zeros. -2 minus 3. Okay. -1 minus 19.
-20.
Divide both sides by.
-5.
Okay. Cancels out equals 1. K equals
4.
positive 4. Okay. Check your work. Does it all line up? You don't have to write this line, but this imaginary, does it all line up on a vertical line? The variables, the equals, and the constants. All right. Good. Yeah, so you gotta stop this. I need to write smaller. Be back. All right. Okay, one more, and then you guys. Okay, last one. You guys start this? You guys know this trigger?
Oh, I know.
Next page.
All right, please go ahead and solve that one all on your own using the format. And when you're done, raise your hand. We'll check your format. If it's correct, we'll give you a homework sheet. If not, we'll have you fix it until it is correct. All right? So the way to get your homework worksheet is to show us this problem done correctly. Of course, format and accuracy and algebra.